Good afternoon, and thank you for taking 6 minutes to center with me today. As Ron was speaking Sunday morning about the importance of singing and how vital that is to our worship experience, I realized that there was a whole lot to unpack from Colossians chapter 3. So after talking with Ron, I got permission for him to actually double down on some of the things that he was talking about Sunday morning. His topic was, why do we sing? And he used a passage from Colossians chapter 3. In Colossians chapter 3, verse 12, we read that as God's chosen people, we should put on compassionate hearts. And then it goes on to describe what these compassionate hearts look like. These are hearts that are filled with kindness, humility, meekness, patience, and forgiveness. In verse 14, he tells us that we should allow love to bind that all together. Verse 15 reminds us of another gift that God has given us, peace, in which we were called to in one body. Now, here's where it gets really interesting when it comes to singing. Listen again to what verse 16 says. We read it Sunday. It says, "Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly, teaching and admonishing one another in all wisdom, singing psalms and hymns and spiritual songs with thankfulness in your hearts to God." So did you catch that? Singing is a vital part of letting the word of Christ dwell richly in us. It's a command. Singing is a unique way of joining together. When you join in song, you are joining each other in a powerful way. In song, you are blending voices in your praise to God. Yet do not miss the impact of singing when it applies to this passage. We sing so that God's word can dwell in us. This is especially true when we just happen to be singing from the scriptures. We are dwelling in his word when we sing, and we're letting God's word dwell in us. Think about this. Songs that we sing directly from the scriptures. Lord, you read my very heart, you who know the least things. How about this one? The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, says my soul. Therefore I will hope in him. And then, Lord, let your light of your face shine on us. That comes straight from Psalms 80. Have you ever had a hymn stuck in your head? That's a good thing, isn't it? Because it allows our hearts to dwell on his word. It allows our mind to dwell on his word. So we understand that Paul is encouraging the Colossian church to fix their hearts in the grace of God. And singing is another element that allows us to do that. So sing, church, and dwell in his word. But don't take my word for it. Let's take Paul's. Colossians chapter 3, verses 12 through 16. Put on then as God's chosen ones, holy and beloved, compassionate hearts, kindness, humility, meekness, and patience, bearing with one another, and if one has a complaint against one another, forgiving each other, as the Lord has forgiven you. So you must also forgive, and above all these things put on love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. And let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, to which indeed you were called in one body, and be thankful. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly, teaching and admonishing one another in all wisdom, singing psalms and hymns and spiritual songs with thankfulness in your heart to God. Thank you for taking 6 minutes to center with me today.